Are you ready to have a good time tonight? And are you ready to laugh? If you are, here comes Mike Pittman.
Hey! Welcome! Welcome to the One Mic Stand Comedy Television Show. How y'all doing? Y'all doing good? Well, this weather's been really just jacked up, man. It's cold one day, hot the next day. I saw these senior citizens sitting up on this, in front of the senior citizens' home. I just happened to overhear this conversation they were having. It was three of them. One was like 60, the other one was 70, the other one was like 80 years old. So the one that was 60 was complaining about, how hard it is for him to urinate. He said, man, I go stand in front of the toilet, man, I stand there for a couple hours. I just can't urinate at all. Man, so getting to be 60 is terrible. The one that's 70 years old said, man, that's not anything. He said, look, I eat bran flakes, I eat fiber, I drink plenty of water, I go sit on the toilet stool, I can sit there all day, I still don't have a bowel movement. So the one that was 80, he said, man, look, you guys just complaining. Look, to be 80 is when it's really bad. He said, when I get, 6:30 in the morning, every morning, he said, I urinate. He said, at 7 o'clock every morning, I have a bowel movement. So the 60-year-old guy and the 70-year-old guy said, well, man, what are you complaining about? He said, I don't get up until 10. No. Whew. Man, y'all ready to laugh tonight? Our first comedian hails from St. Louis, Missouri. Put your hands together, everybody, for Chad Wallace.
Yeah, that was my personal rant. Ladies and gentlemen, how we doing tonight? All right, my name is Chad Wallace. I broke into comedy because I got tired of breaking into houses. With a nice Caucasian name like Chad Wallace, my mom knew what she was doing. She knew my name would be good for job applications, credit card applications, and a blind date with white women. So you got to realize a name like Chad Wallace over the phone, my credit score is 800 over the phone. When I go to get that Target card, they love me. Oh, Mr. Wallace, all we need to get this rolling is your zip code. Zip code. You guys know when you get auto insurance and you give them the wrong zip code, it goes from $200 a month to you shouldn't even be trying to get no damn auto insurance. Yeah, she's like, all I need is that zip code. And I live in North City, St. Louis, 63112. I'm like, I'm sorry, Mr. Wallace, I couldn't quite catch that. That's 63112. 63112, is that North City? Why, yes, it is. Hold on, please. Mr. Wallace, this is the police. We need you to turn yourself in. She said you tried to rob her through the phone. I said, oh, man, not again. Not again. As you might have noticed from my immaculate speaking voice that I have what they call a proper accent. I used to go to a magnet school. And it was hard because I lived in the hood. When you live in the hood and you talk like this, you get bullies. They come up to me like, hey, yo, where that money at? I'm like, dude, really? We're really gonna do this? You're just gonna end your sentence on a preposition? I'm like, punch, blood. Now, even though I managed to squeak out 2 kids, I got 2 kids, 2 baby mamas, paying child support for 1. I'm batting 500. I'm doing better than the Lakers right now. I'm doing better than the Lakers. See, but my daughter, if you have a daughter in elementary school, stop giving your kids smartphones and tablets. Smartphones and tablets make your kids stupid. My daughter came to me the other day with her smartphone. She said, Daddy, I know my ASDs. I'm like, nah, baby, you mean ABCs. She's like, nah, Daddy, the tablets say the ASDs. And I said, well, baby, tell me your ASDs. I wanted to see this. And proudly, she stood up and said, ASDFGHJ. KL semicolon apostrophe tab. Semicolon ain't even a letter. Give me that damn thing. I'm glad I didn't get her a flip phone. With that T9 text message and stuff. 222222223. Give me this phone. Let me get this thing out of here. Nah, you gotta realize I got One thing about having kids, I also have a son, little Chad. He's 13. He's 5'8", 174 pounds. I repeat, 5'8", 174 pounds. And I got to feed him. I'm just glad child support don't charge by the pound. That's all I know. Because when we go to Burger King, when we walk in, that's not a menu. That's a to-do list. That's a challenge. He's going to conquer that menu. And he gets so excited before he orders. I let him order his own food, and I'm like, Chad, order your own food. He's like, okay, I'll take a number one. No, I'll take a number two. He starts sounding like an auctioneer. I'll take a number one, give me that number one. I also take a number two, to give me number two, give me that number three, chocolate shake going once, chocolate shake going twice, sold to the Batman in the back. And I'm in the back trying to help my boy out. He got me hype. I'm like, yeah, give me that number 3, number 4. But you got to realize, fat kids, they will find a way to try to eat all the food. I said, Chad, just order one item. One item. He's like, okay, Dad, I'll order one item. And he's looking at the menu. Oh, I'll take the breakfast begins. And me and the cashier look at each other. We're like, do you have a breakfast begins? He's like, yeah, Dad. Breakfast begins, and it costs $5.30. And me and her looking at each other. And he's reading the menu. Breakfast begins at 5:30 a.m., and he wants all the menu items that's below breakfast begins. I'm like, you fat kid, what's in breakfast begins? He's like, oh, it has pancakes, sausage, nerds, Twizzlers, chitlins. He just started naming everything with the stuff in his face, and I'm a horrible father. I mean, it's hard when you have kids. Because, like, and then fast food places, the problem I got with fast food places, all the cashiers, they're not all bad. It's the young ones, them 90 babies up there just waiting to mess up your order. It's just some girl born 16 years ago just trying to get a minimum wage check, that's it. Now, I went into a Taco Bell, and let me guys, have you seen this? Have you seen them cashiers with dollar signs on their face and neck? Like they think they're destined to be a cashier or something like that. Like when they were born, there was a soothsayer. You would give out incorrect change to the home and deny the homeless use of the bathrooms. I just don't get tattoos. Like, me, as dark as I am, I'm not going to get a tattoo. No, seriously. I'm not going to get a tattoo that I have to go to a club in Brooklyn under the black light just to verify that I have a tattoo. When I go to the clubs, they give me a scratch and sniff just to make sure. Have you been in here before? Yeah, Lavender. Yeah, he's been here before. Let him in. See, because under these lights, I hope I don't get the sweating. Because when you this dark, you don't sweat, you glisten. I look like a walk-in patent leather wedding shoe up here if I get to sweating too much. I can't even go to strip clubs, because if I get glitter on this, it's like looking in deep space. You're like, is he teleporting? It's like, man, nah, I don't get tattoos. Like, I get complimented for tattoos that I don't have. Like, man, that's a nice tribal tat you got on your arm. I'm like, this is some dry skin. It's actually some eczema. It's a skin disease. Man, is that a dragon on your arm? No, actually, I got sweaty, and it formed a little Yu-Gi-Oh dragon right here. Leave me alone. No, I just don't get tattoos. And I passed up a bunch of Taco Bells over here, and one thing I find weird about them is the pictures of the menu items. Have you guys went in there and looked at the Nacho Supreme? What's the difference between a nacho and a nacho supreme? I think it's like, I need my fat and drunk people to help me out on this one. And they're like sour cream and tomatoes. Yeah. 2 extra items. You walk into Taco Bell, you see this humongous picture of a nacho supreme. It got nachos big as your head. It got rivers of cheese flowing down. And when they bring it out to you, it's a little bitty Monopoly hat with 2 drops of cheese on it. I'm like, this ain't supreme. 2 items don't make supreme. Here in America, in Detroit, Diana Ross and Supremes, you get 3 extra black women. In Washington, D.C., Supreme Court, you get 8 extra judges. And if you're in Florida, 20 extra years in your sentence if you're black. I'm just letting you know. Just watch the news, just Google it. But I got a theory. Using the 2 items Supreme, I can get away with murder. All I got to do is run up to a guy, knock him out, and then shoot him. Like, oh my God, I just killed that guy. Nah, that was a knockout supreme. I just added a bun and a gun, 2 extra items. That was it. I don't know if you guys know this, but I was raised by a single black woman. Yeah. It's weird being raised by a single mother because they try their best, but they don't always get it right. My mom tried her best, but she didn't do everything right. She used to smoke cigarettes in front of me. She didn't care. She just smoked cigarettes in front of me. I'm looking at her. What's the matter, boy? You want to hit it? Uh-huh. She's like, well, here. Take it and light it back up on the stove. And she give me the cigarette to light back up on the stove, which was messed up because I had to go to the neighbor's house because our gas was off. And she was like, here, take this electric cord and borrow some electricity while you're over there. My mama didn't borrow sugar, she borrowed utilities. My mama tried, she didn't always get it right. I mean, because you realize, she used to put all the bills in my name, which every woman probably had to do, but you don't let the child know that he has the house in his name because his attitude is going to change dramatically because she walking around saying, well, this is my house, my rules, and if you don't like it, you can get out. I said, sorry, according to the deed, this is my house and under my rules, and if you don't like it, you can get out. People, when I woke up, I was 11 years old. And I had to file for Chapter 11 because she messed my credit up. You don't realize, you ain't supposed to be in elementary school with bill collectors chasing you. They don't care about you or your toys. Man came by the house one day. Mama answered the door. She said, Chad, this white man here to see you. And this white man walked in and put a boot on my Optimus Prime. I'm like, Optimus, transform. He couldn't even transform. Come back, Optimus. Optimus couldn't even transform. But you got. I was raised in a household with 4 single women, 4 single angry black women. I felt like I was in Tyler Perry version of Golden Girls. But nickname for grandma was Golden Grams. It was Golden Grams. But wasn't Golden Girls your favorite show? You know who I want to redo Golden Girls? I want Tyler Perry to revamp Golden Girls. I want it to be all about Blanche. Because she slept with everybody. She was an honorary black woman, really. She just slept with everybody. And the name of the show would be Blanche Stay Away From My Man. It'd be about Blanche going on Instagram and World Star Hip Hop, just trying to get everybody man. Because you know the Golden Girls theme song, right? Dum, 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 dum. Thank you for being a friend. Now, the Tyler Perry version, the World Star Hip Hop version, it goes a little different. It goes something like this. Dum, 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 dum. Blanche, stay away from my man. Dum, 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 dum. Stalking him on Instagram. If I catch you, boo, I'm beating you up and putting it on World Star. Blanche, stay away from my man. Dun, 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 dun. Slice, slice, dun, dun, dun. Dude, I just said black people back 200 years with that mess. But ladies and gentlemen, that's my time. I want to thank you for coming out. My name is Chad Wallace. Have yourselves a wonderful night.
Give it up again, everybody, for Chad Wallace. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Hey baseball fans, I'm Ricky Horton, and I'm here to talk to you about Perfect Pitch Baseball and Softball, one of Central Illinois' top facilities for professional instruction. Now at Perfect Pitch, students will receive quality one-on-one instruction in the areas of pitching, hitting, fielding, and of course base running, all from a pro perspective. Perfect Pitch students will be able to gain knowledge and skills necessary for them to perform at their highest level. Students from T-ball to pro prospects are getting that instruction. Come to Perfect Pitch and perfect your game.
Welcome back to the One Mic Stand Comedy Television Show. You know, I like to go to church every Sunday, and, you know, they got different people that work in the church. You know, you got your ushers and, you know, the parking lot people. But, you know, people that go to church, you know, all of them, you know, they go to church to try to get better because they've had a former life, if you will. But I always believe it's somewhere in the church where everybody can fit in at, you know. You might have a lady that was an exotic dancer, you know, she might be on like the, you know, the praise dancer team, you know, because she got that talent, you know. Or you might have, you know, the old ex-drug dealer, you know, he might be serving communion or something like that, you know what I'm saying? But what do you put the ex-pimp at in the church? You know what I'm saying? What are you going to put him at? What you need to do, you need to put him over the offering and over the deacons. He'd be like, y'all better get my money. Where my money at? Y'all ready to laugh some more? Our next comedian is the most senior comedian on the circuit today. He hails from East St. Louis, Illinois. Put your hands together, everybody, for Wayne Wiskow.
Thank you very much. I bet you're expecting another black man, weren't you? You'll have to excuse me. My hip's been bothering me. I injured it years ago in the mosh pit at a Yanni concert. Those girls were vicious. Yeah, I am one of the more senior comedians. I'm actually pretty pissed off tonight. We've had this smoking law in Illinois, 6 years now? And just before the show tonight, I was outside having a smoke and I got a citation. I said, "Officer, I'm more than 15 feet away from the door." He said, "I'm sorry, sir, that doesn't apply to marijuana." No. I said, "I think you're going to have to read that law again. All it says is no smoking within 15 feet of the door. It doesn't say anything about what you're smoking, okay? Besides, I just use that for medicinal purposes. I just use that for the glaucoma." He said, "You got glaucoma?" I said, "No, so apparently it's working, okay?" Besides, you know what they say, an ounce of prevention is worth about $150 a bag. Yeah, I'm the most senior comedian. Let's cut it to the chase, okay? I'm old. Yeah, I just had a major life event this last year, or last week. I now officially spend more than half my waking time looking for stuff. Yeah, I run 3 miles a day. I try to keep in shape, you know. 3 miles a day, mainly to the bathroom. My specialty is the 20-yard dash. I'm old. I'm also bitter. I resent the fact that kids today have advantages growing up that I never had when I was young. I mean, we never had any fancy calculators or computers. If we needed help in math class, we had an abacus. When the abacus went down, we didn't reboot, we'd rebead. Now computers are everywhere. They're used for everything, even dating. Let me ask you out there, how many of you, by applause, have ever used any of the internet social dating networks? Anyone? There you go. Which one have you been on? Oh, okay. Yeah. Isn't that for lesbians? I don't know. It's just I tried a new one recently. Oh, you don't have to confess it here. That's okay. I tried a new one called Plenty of Fish. Maybe you heard of it. Let me tell you a couple things I learned about Plenty of Fish. First off, the women on there lie. Yeah. Plenty of Fish requires you to show a headshot, but it allows you to describe your body type, anything from thin to average, a few extra pounds, or athletic. Now, I met a woman on there. I agreed to meet her because she looked attractive. We had a lot in common. She described herself as having an athletic build. When I met her, I thought she'd lied, but she had me on a technicality, inasmuch as a sumo wrestler is an athlete. Now, I'm not a big guy. I usually don't go for the large ladies, but she had that diaper thing going on that was just so friggin' hot. I hadn't seen that much meat in one room since the county fair. She had a tramp stamp back here. It was more like a mural is what it was. Another woman confessed to me on the first date that she lied about her age. She said, I'm really not 63, I'm actually 67. I said, well, that's all right, don't worry about it, because I lied too when I said I never actually killed anybody. What I should have said is I've never killed anyone with premeditation. Usually it just happens on the spur of the moment when someone pisses me off. Well, she went off on me. She said, how could you possibly think in your wildest imagination that killing someone, regardless of whether you planned it or not, is in any way comparable to fudging on your age? Well, I looked her right in the eyes and I said, you're starting to piss me off. Another woman I met on Plenty of Fish told me over the phone that she was a psychotherapist. When I met her, it turns out psychotherapist was 2 words. How many of you have gone to a family reunion within the last year? Any? Yeah, there you go. I just got a notice on email from my family that we're having our annual family reunion in July. Set aside that date. Last year's didn't go so well. It was put on down in southern Illinois, just this side of the border from Paducah, Kentucky, by a branch of the family tree that should have been lopped off long ago. Met my cousin down there. One of his sons had just had a run-in with the highway patrol. Yeah, they pulled him over, and the officer came up, leaned in the window, and said, "Boy," they talk different down there. "Boy, you got any ID?" He said, "About what?" He said, "Not idea, ID, identification." He said, "What's that?" It's a little rectangular thing with your picture on it. So Boots, that's his name, Boots Wiskow, was rummaging through the glove compartment, finds a mirror, looks at it, hands it to the officer. The officer looks at it, hands it back, says, "Well, if I'd known you were a cop, I wouldn't have pulled you over." Boots and I went out to the one of the gambling boats there on the river. I went to the blackjack tables. He's not smart. I mean, if he was going to play blackjack, he'd have to take off his shoes, socks, and unzip his fly 20 to get to 21. I came back. About 2 hours later, I was down $75. I was ready to go home. I met him. I said, "How'd you do?" He said, "I broke even." I said, "Well, no wonder you've been playing the change machine all night." Then I thought about it. He's even. He's had a lot of fun. I'm down $75. Who's the real idiot here, Yeah. I did meet another one of my little second cousins, twice removed, a little 3-year-old boy named Adam. Met him for the first time. Now, he is the product of the relationship between one of my second cousins and his niece. Now, I know what you're thinking. Isn't the product of a relationship where the blood is that closely related likely to produce some kind of genetic defect? The only thing I noticed was that his eyes were different colors. One was blue, and one was green, and one was brown. Other than that, he was perfectly normal. How many of you remember that movie not long ago called The Bucket List? Let's see, Morgan Freeman was in it. Remember that one, The Bucket List? The reason I bring it up, I just crossed a big one off this last month. I joined the Mile High Club. Probably not as exciting as it sounds. What I did was I drove to Denver and did it in the back seat. Alone. It was, hey, by the time you get to be my age, that bucket list looks pretty imposing. You make some compromises. You cut some corners. Right now, I'd just be happy if one time before I died, I could have sex with a Virginian, okay? That's all I'm saying. I think the Alzheimer's just kicked in. No, it's just the weed. It's okay. It's okay. I'm all right. So I'm divorced. I know. What were the odds? I should have seen it coming. It's my fault. I mean, when the minister said, "Do you take this man for richer or poorer?" She said, "Richer." I had to explain to her it wasn't multiple choice. Okay, it's small enough. Yeah. She ran away with the town farm implement salesman. Didn't even have the decency to tell me in person, just left me a John Deere letter. Yeah. We had 3 kids, one of each. Assertive, passive, and aggressive. Now, we decided the custody with a coin flip. I lost, so the kids ended up with me. I love them dearly, but let me tell you, I never talked to my parents the way these kids talk to me. I was invited to a Halloween costume party one October. I couldn't decide what to go as. I asked my daughter. She said, "Why don't you go like one of those characters out of the Rocky Horror Picture Show?" Right away, I'm thinking the transvestite Dr. Frankenfurter. She said, "No, I don't mean him. I mean Brad, the nerdy-looking little guy with the dark-rimmed glasses whose car breaks down at the beginning of the movie." I said, "Well, how would I go as him?" She said, "Just show up." She was in a pissy mood one day. This is when I was still married to her mother. She couldn't believe she came from the same gene pool as her parents. So she comes up to us all excited, and says, "So, am I adopted?" "Not yet." "Paperwork should come through any day now." "Hope you like Mugu Gaipan." When her sister was born, we knew right away that she was going to be a challenge. I mean, this is the only recorded birth in Scott County, Iowa, in which the mother requested a blood test to make sure it was hers. Yeah, you know what that's like, dear. Yeah, she was in the 9th grade, academically challenged. She was flunking attendance. So I did what any normal parent would do. I grounded her, and she ran away from home. Naturally, I was worried. I was concerned because, she might come back. When I looked at it, I hadn't lost a daughter. I'd gained a den, okay? My youngest, my son, I got to tell you, he just moved out today. The last one, now an empty nest. That's worth something, isn't it? I've got an empty nest now. My son moved out. I wanted to do for him what my father did for me when I moved out of the house. He gave me some words of wisdom to live by, so a credo, something you could use to guide your life. I'm racking my brain trying to think what I can tell my son that he can use to guide his life through the future. Condensing 40 years of experience into one phrase, and all I could come up with was, "Never hide your weed while you're high." I think they're all expecting a huge inheritance when I go. I haven't had the heart to tell them that I've already spent it all, on Viagra. Yeah. So it looks like we're all in for some hard times ahead. I do try to meet women wherever I go. I was in the Netherlands recently. I lived there for about a year. This was 10 years ago. In the Netherlands, marijuana is legal, prostitution is legal, the age of consent is 16. I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. It's not unusual in Europe to see an older man dating a younger woman, too. And I thought, well, I'll try that. I'll get myself a young Dutch girlfriend. It worked for a while, too, because she was dyslexic. She thought I was 25. Yeah, so you should have seen the look on her face the next year when all of a sudden I was 35. Hey, my name's Wayne Wiskow. Thank you. You've been a great crowd. I appreciate your attention. Thank you.
Give it up again, everybody, for Wayne Wiskow. Also, give it up again also for Chad Wallace. Watch us on Fox TV on Saturdays at 11:30, the One Mic Stand Comedy TV show. All of you guys are going to be on TV, so we make sure you don't have any warrants for your arrest. We'll see you next week. Now, this is a part of the show where I normally come out in the audience and I get some crowd shots, so I just talk to people out here. How you doing, man? Stand up for a minute. Got that weighted shirt on. Stand around. Look at that camera right there. What's your name?
I'm Eric.
Eric? It's not an alias, is it?
No.
Okay, what do you do, Eric?
I'm a tax collector.
Oh, my goodness. Are you really? Oh, okay. Well, my name is Jose Pagan, okay? No, I'm just paying you, man. Okay. Yeah, how did you hear about the show?
Actually, Facebook.
Really? Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming out. What department you work for?
Revenue.
Illinois Department of Revenue? All right, why don't you get some money, man? So, maybe you get you one of them old pimps to work over the revenue. Thank you for watching us on the One Mic Stand Comedy Television show tonight. We'll be right back at the same time, same bat channel next week, 11:30 p.m., Fox TV. We had a great show tonight, and we thank you all for coming out and watching us and for tuning in out there in TV land.
If you're interested in being an audience member or performing as a comedian on this show, email us at OneMicStandComedyTVShow@gmail.com or call 960-5474. Like us on Facebook, One Mic Stand Comedy Television Show.